Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, October 21st, the CDC made another huge health announcement. And I don't know about you. I don't know about you guys, but I was absolutely shocked. So the CDC made an announcement exactly 10 days before the no-sail order is supposed to lift for a cruise ship in the United States. And their declaration was, all Americans should avoid cruising and river cruising worldwide at all costs. And I going, well, there's a shock. There's an absolutely surprising shock. Did they mention anything about airplanes or anything? Did they mention anything about theme parks? Did they mention anything about, the old age homes? Did they mention anything about anything else? No. The only health advisory we ever seem to see lately from the CDC is only about cruise ships. And I said, okay, well, Don, be open-minded. This is what you preach. Everyone should be open-minded. They're going to announce now their fact-based findings, science-based findings on why you should avoid cruise ships. And no. They didn't say anything. They didn't come up with any studies. They didn't come up with any findings. They just said, we know large public spaces like cruise ships enhance the spread of the virus and you should avoid it at all costs. Okay, why, huge indoor areas. But did you take into effect that people have to be tested before getting on board? Did you take into effect the new ventilation systems going on board? Did you take into effect the heat sensors going on board? Did you take into effect that people are wearing masks on board? Did you take into effect that the social distancing on board? Did you take any of it into account when you're talking about your fact-based sciences? Because every time I hear the CDC open their mouths about cruise ships, they always go back to March and April. Always go back to before anything was done on the cruise ships to make things safer. Always go back to making, just I don't get it. I just don't get it. Even river cruises. Well, guess what, CDC? There's a little river cruise company here in Canada that was running a small cruise line up and down the St. Lawrence, and it ran for 2.5 months here in Canada, called the Empress. And guess what? Not a zero case. Zero cases on board the entire season. It went off without a hitch. Nobody complained about the cruise ship or any tracing to it at all. And by the way, where it took place is in Quebec, and right now Quebec is the hot spot for the last 60 days in Canada. They have the highest infection rate throughout Canada by a long shot. And it's not even the most populated province in the country. So they were able to do this, not have any cases safely. But you say they can't do it. You say that's impossible to have done, but they've done it. By the way, so far, cruisers out there in the world, over 150,000 passengers have now been on a cruise ship since you shut down the country and everything like this, and a total of 14 people have caught sick. Well, in one little area in California, they had more than that yesterday by 4 times the amount. And we're not talking California. We're talking a district a little tiny district in California, and they're shut down. They can't open bars. They can't open restaurants. They can't open movie theaters. They can't open anything. But cruise ships have sailed around the world with more people that live in that county and have less infection rate. But don't go on a cruise, everybody. Don't. That's bad. Bad, bad, bad cruise ships. At least do some actual studies. Don't just go back to March and go back to April. Go on the cruise ships now. Go over their safety procedures and then tell me why they won't work. Then tell me why they won't work. Don't just say, don't do it. Because there are so many restrictions coming out in some of these places now that are absolutely ridiculous now. That they literally are just throwing darts now. Disneyland in Anaheim, Walt Disney World has been open for over 3 months now in Florida. By the way, Florida opened their gates. You can open bars, you can open restaurants. They're not doing any of that. And the infection rate has kind of stayed the same. It's high, but it's stayed the same. It hasn't jumped, even though they've opened everything up. And guess what? Disney World has not had any huge outbreaks linked back to going to a theme park, into going to Disney World or Universal Studios. And trust me, the media would love that story. Oh, this has become a huge outbreak area. They would love that story. Nothing. California says you can't even open Disneyland, which supports tons and tons of businesses, until we reach the yellow code. Well, guess what? They're not even in the code before that, or the code before that yet. So for Disneyland to open, according to these new code regulations, they have to be 1 infection per 100,000 people. 1 new case a day for 100,000 people. California averages right now around 6,000 cases a day the last few days. So how long do you think it's going to take to get down to 1 person per 100,000? I think it's going to take a little while, don't you? So if you think like, oh my God, I hate to try and rely on my business anywhere out there, because that is the most indefinite decision making ever. And not only that, if you're in a different color zone and it changes to a worse color zone, you got to shut down again. So you can open, shut down, open, shut down, open, shut down. You will not survive. Businesses are going to go under. And the CDC is basically doing nothing to help that. They are not coming up with any kind of guidelines or solutions or anything other than to say, don't do things. Don't do this. Well, that's not solutions. People are going to do things. Come up with how to do them safely and how to react when things happen. I don't know what could be more simpler in a train of thought, because you will never get this down to 0. You have to get it down to manageable. It's as simple as that. And the more you restrict and tighten and grip and hold on to people and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, the more people are going to start doing those things and will stop listening to you, because you're getting more and more and more and more restrictive, and people are losing their money, their lives, their jobs, their sanity. And so, yeah. But thank you, CDC, for that cruise ship warning, because you know what? I never expected it. I never expected you guys to say cruise ships are bad. It's a total shock to me. And you guys caught me off guard. Good job. You know what? If there's anything more predictable than that, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time. Have yourself a safe and a great vacation.